I came up with the main guitar riff for I'm Not the King in early 1994, right after we had worked on the Don't Censor Me album. We were just getting ready to leave to go on our first big tour, the Free at Last tour with DC Talk. And so Big House hadn't really hit yet. This album was brand new. I wrote a lot of stuff that I just didn't really think Audio Adrenaline would ever use because I was into more guitar-driven hard rock kind of stuff. I had listened to the latest album from the band Bride. It was called Snakes in the Playground. And in 1994, that was their new album. It was just full of amazing, very classic sounding guitar riffs. Music from the 70s, a lot of the hard rock stuff had, it wasn't guitars just playing chords. It was, there were lines, riffs, memorable parts. I was really, at that time, into the old, early music from Aerosmith, a little bit from Led Zeppelin. After a lot of listening to Bride, Snakes in the Playground, that I sat down and came up with that main guitar riff that goes like this. And I didn't really think that riff would probably ever get used. So I had that part, for over a year before I really played it for the other guys. I believe, if I recall right, that Bob had come up with the idea, just the basic idea. I want to write a song called I'm Not the King. It's going to say, I'm not the king, I just sing. He had been kind of tinkering around with that idea and telling us about it. And at some point I played that riff that I had come up with. And one of them, may have been Bob, said, that should be I'm Not the King. And so we started working on that. We talked about the idea that it would kind of be a back and forth thing. So the vocal would sing, I'm not the king, I just sing, and then the guitar. And then I'm just a fraction of a thing. And when we got ready to really put the song together, we had just that. I think we were on tour with the Newsboys and gearing up for the next record. But then when we got ready to really go in and make the record, we started rehearsing the songs. And now for this record, we were rehearsing with a full band, with a drummer. Greg Harrington was doing all our rehearsal with us. He's an amazing drummer. We all just sort of put it together. And so we knew we wanted the verse to come down. And I had this guitar part that I had actually used in another song, another demo that didn't make the record. But it was just these two chords, which really, that's kind of an E7, E, G sharp, D. And that is kind of a strange chord, an F sharp in the bass, and then E, B, B flat. Right? Those are both chords that I got from the band Extreme. And those are actually two chords from two different songs. But there was one song where he played that. And then totally different song, different, altogether progression. He had this chord. And I just thought, what if I just alternate between those two chords? What would that sound like? And so that became the verse. Then we just really needed transitions to get back in and out of sections. And so coming out of the verse back into that main riff. Becomes that. We had rehearsed the song, worked on the song for a long time before, Mark said, the song needs a chorus. It doesn't have a chorus. And I had the two parts that I thought were the guitar parts, and so I wasn't really convinced that it needed a chorus, but, Mark has that penchant for finding a hook and finding a melody, and, the song had all the driving rock and riff parts, but it just didn't have that chorus hook. And so to go somewhere new on the chorus and make it more melodic, I think Will might have decided to go to A. And then I added to it the little chromatic kind of walk-up thing so that the chorus goes. once I heard it, I knew Mark was right, that just made the song complete. And so really those are the parts. There's a kind of an instrumental section, a little bit of a guitar solo. It's nothing flashy. It's just a simple thing like this. And then back into the riff and carry it on to the end. That's most of the parts of the song. For the Bloom album, we were at Ardent Studios in Memphis with the producer John Hampton, and we had just tons of different guitar amps and pedals going. I'm pretty sure I recorded the entire album with my Gibson Nighthawk, and then different amps and pedals. I'm pretty sure that this was done with a classic fuzz, Electro Harmonics fuzz pedal. I like to use my volume knob to clean up the sound, and so when it goes to the verse, rather than kick the pedal in and out, I just roll down my volume to get a little bit of a cleaner sound. And then do that to get back to the dirty sound.